This is Boxing Guru. Yet another episode, and hopefully this one is early enough for you guys to listen to it throughout the week. It's going to be nice, short, and sweet for all of you guys. But before we get ahead of ourselves, again, that great music that you guys just heard was from Los Anaya. Again, guys, week after week, thank you so much for letting me use your music. Again, that's Losanaya. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys listen to them on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and wherever great music is listened to. Guys, let's get right to it. This Friday, on the Zone from the Honda Center, we had the YouTube, Instagram sensation Ryan Garcia that easily KO'd his opponent Fonseca in the first and only round in the card, the fight. So, yeah, pretty great highlight reel for the kid. Look, he's obviously fast enough, strong enough to take on these type of opponents. Looks like Golden Boy has a good gauge of what the kid can do and what they can do with him. So good for him, or is it? Let's kind of visit what type of fighter Fonseca is. I mean, obviously he's a much smaller guy because I think it was pretty apparent on his punch resistance. Yes, he didn't have many losses on his record, but who he fought to get those losses was, of course, we have to take that into accountability. The kid lost to Gervonta Davis, I believe it was almost 3 years ago, so quite some time ago. I think it was, two weight classes north of what he fought at. He also fought Tevin Farmer, which, of course, Tevin Farmer had a long championship reign. Up until a couple of weeks ago when Joseph Diaz took that belt from him. Again, great opponents, formidable opponents. Again, that's 2 years ago. The last time this kid Fonseca won a fight was sometime around mid-year last year. So in 2019, he won a fight versus a guy with 10 losses already to his name. Again, I'm not one to count your losses against you, but tell me who you lose, or tell me who you lost to, and I'll tell you what type of opponent you are. Again, Fonseca, which was a much smaller fighter for Ryan Garcia. Again, but credit to Ryan, he did exactly what he needed to do. There's winning and there's a way of winning. If he would have gone the distance versus a guy like Fonseca, which again, smaller guy, not the fastest guy in the world, not the strongest gentleman in the world, but and a much smaller guy. Guys like myself would have critiqued him, and we have before. So this is what you do with these type of opponents. Now, is Golden Boy and friends doing a disservice to the kid? Feeding him two weak opponents in a row, and yes, I got a lot of flack on social media because I did say that Duno, his past opponent, was a good fight when he originally declined it, almost a year ago. But the reason why I had said that because I hadn't seen the type of opposition that or the type of skill that Duno brought to the table, especially after a tough win versus the guy from Mexico City, which arguably this other guy won. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a tough guy. He even beat Amercito Gesta. Now, I believe Duno was he gave us I think his legs are shot. I'm trying to put it in a nice way, but I think the kid's legs are shot. He's completely done by the time he even fought Ivan Delgado, because Ivan Delgado, and that was a surprise. That's why I wanted to fight there and then. That way Ryan could say, you know what, guys, shut the fuck up. This is what I'm going to do to the type of opponents you guys want. But he didn't. He let Duno fight Ivan Delgado. Ivan Delgado had just gotten out of jail, I believe, a couple of days before, maybe about 30 days, if that. And he went about 6-7 rounds with him. So obviously, Ivan Delgado had no type of conditioning, and he still went rounds with him, and that kind of tells you, what type of opponent at this point Duno was. Unfortunately, I think Duno, I don't want to call him a shot fighter, but I do want to say he's seen his better days, but he did bring a name to the table. He was that Golden Boy prospect, the killer they called him for a while. So that was it. Again, now in this fight versus Fonseca, again, the blurry mirrors. This is what you're getting. I already explained to you that he's a much smaller guy, but this is what you do when they feed you mediocre opposition. Now, if Ryan would have gone, like I said, rounds with him, I get it. Let's crucify the kid. But for now, good for him. I just hope they're not doing a disservice and they're wasting the kid's prime away with mediocre opposition. So yeah, that's that. So hopefully we actually get a decent fight versus Jorge Linares, and of course, like we all saw, Jorge Linares did stop Carlos the Solution Morales, and I believe it was the 4th round. Morales was picked for a reason. Everybody knows that Jorge Linares is a bit chinny, and he somehow always fumbles versus Mexicans. Of course, Morales being a local kid, I seen him. As a matter of fact, Morales has fought Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia didn't do so great versus Morales. So on paper, and this was a couple of years back already. So on paper, you're like, okay, maybe Jorge, he does give Jorge Linares a run for his money, and we actually get a decent scrap. But the level was very apparent. The level of a class in fighter. And again, no knock on Carlos Morales. I think he's a very good young man. But it was very apparent. When Linares was able to start working the way Linares knows how to work, when he didn't have fear in what was coming back at him, because, obviously Morales is this, he looks, extremely slow compared to Linares. Linares know he could go in there and just fight as beautiful as he always fought. And that's one thing about Jorge Linares. He's a great, beautiful fighter. But again, he's a great, beautiful fighter with a suspect chin. Yes, he's very strong and whatnot, but again, very, very suspect chin. Now, do I think we're going to get the fight Jorge Linares versus Ryan Garcia? Absolutely. I definitely think so. I think the minute Ryan Garcia, especially as strong as the kid is, touches a guy like Jorge Linares, is going to be lights out. Again, we all know that Ryan could pack a punch, and we all know that Linares is as chinny as Amir Khan. So it'll be an extremely easy fight, unless for some strange reason Linares finds his groove against a kid like Ryan, and he starts backing him up with a jab, which again he has the ability to do so. But again, eventually Ryan will catch this kid, Linares, and of course end his career at this point. The rest of the card, it was like it was a great little card, because it was you picked, I guess Golden Boy picked the best looking fighters he had. You had Ryan Garcia, he had Jorge Linares, he had Alexis Rocha versus Brad Solomon. I'm sorry, and again it was this went all the way to the decision. It wasn't necessarily a great fight to see. That's not the type of card, a fight. I'm sorry, that a guy like Brandon Solomon is going to give you. A guy like Brandon Solomon is going to give you a lot of movements, a lot of cuteness. And that's what he does. So for a guy like Alexis Rocha, I think kind of fell in the groove of chasing him around. So I think on the last round, I think his coach finally got on his ass and said, you know what, you need to go and knock this fucking guy out. And that's what he tried doing, and he was almost successful, because he did drop Solomon. And of course, the big thing with this fight was, I guess you could say, a measuring stick between Alexis Rocha and a guy like Virgil Ortiz. Again, guys like Virgil Ortiz, we already speak the world of. I personally think or respect it enough with Brad Solomon to say, you know what, this isn't going to be as easy as people are thinking. Not just because Virgil Ortiz knocks him out, that means other fighters are going to make easy work. I did give a lot of those middle rounds to Brad Solomon. I think he caught his groove, but I think Alexis Rocha winning by 2-3 rounds. Again, shows you that there is a big gap. There is a big difference between Alexis Rocha and Virgil Ortiz. So hopefully they continue to develop a guy like Rocha and a guy like Ortiz, completely different, not just, keep the same mold. Again, Battle of Cute Fighters. Everybody's in love with Blair Cobb. Woo! Sideshow Bob looking dude. And he did great. You know what? Again, kind of boring. I get it. Again, Blair Cobb's fought Samuel Cotti, and reminding me of Clottey. Very, tough, very durable fighter. Again, it was under, it was, it was a bit of a boy. It was. See, I don't want to call these fights. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna call them boring. They're boring. You as a boxing fan, as a purist, I get it. The purists, say, oh, great tactical fight, blah blah blah. But the fact of the matter is, boxing at the end of the day is a sport. We're here to get entertained, and we don't want to, we don't want knockouts. Go watch golf. It showed again. It shows you the level of Blair Cobbs. Again, I like the kid. He's fun to watch. It's only a matter of time before we see him completely starch on the floor. But let's enjoy him while we can. Again, very fun fighter to watch. Again, same thing on that undercard. We had Evan Sanchez. Again, it was kind of a theme here. All these good-looking kids here in the same card. Alexis Rocha, Blair Cobbs, all welterweight fighters, and again, including Evan Sanchez, which is he did his. I guess it was his Golden Boy debut under the Golden Boy banner against. He just signed with Joe De La Hoya. He signed with Adidas Boxing as well. So again, he's in the very beginning stages of his career. So the fights that he's getting right now are developmental fights, and that's what it looks like. That he's going to continue. So I guess the question that I have you guys got to keep an eye on this kid and see what you like, what you don't like. I would love to hear people's opinion on him. I like the kid. I think he was a bit nervous. He wanted a knockout. He wanted I think in a press conference he said, "Sorry, Ryan, but I'm here to steal the show." And I think he got over anxious and was just trying to knock this kid out. And again, he eventually knocked his opponent down. What was his name? Daniel Macalista. He knocked him out in the second round. But I think you shouldn't try to go for the knockout. If it comes, it comes. But just work on what you've done in the gym. Get show me your jab. Show me exactly what you have. And then the knockout. If the knockout comes, the knockout comes. So I think he was a bit nervous. I seen him a bit wide. I would like to, see him just a little tighter in there. But the kid has power. The kid looks fun to watch. Again, that's the type of fight that I like to see. I like to see a guy try to knock a guy out. That's exactly what he did. And again, especially based on that level of opposition, you got to get rid of these guys. There's no reason to carry these guys rounds. Good job by the kid. I think that was it for that fight, for that card. There was a couple other fights. Some of them, of course, we didn't get to watch. There were somewhere on, maybe Ring TV or whatnot. There was a couple other, but again, didn't get to watch them on that card. But let's go to Saturday night, which is Caleb Plant completely dominates. Vincent Figueroa. Great performance by Caleb Plant. I like the guy a lot. Very cocky, very swagalicious type of dude. But I guess the main reason why I wanted to watch the fight, because I wanted to see if, okay, does he call out Canelo? I mean, because that should be the case, right? I mean, everybody got to go for the cash cow. I think Canelo is at this point seeking opponents. I believe they made a couple of offers to a couple other fighters, but I think Caleb Plant is probably one of the more deserving ones, including him, including B.J. Saunders, including David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez, in my opinion, is the top guy that Canelo should be going after. But Caleb Plant is a hell of a choice. He's a great fighter. He's not a big dude, so I think both his and Canelo's frame kind of match up. He has a belt, so I think it's the type of fight that will be very, very interesting to Canelo. But of course, he said, and maybe this is something that I don't get. Again, because of course I'm not an athlete, but he says he doesn't have enough time to try to go into camp. The Canelo fight, of course, if you catch the Canelo sweepstakes, they are for the beginning stages of May, which again we're in February, so I don't get it. He said he would only have a month and a half off, I believe he said. I mean, who the fuck is off for a month and a half? And this is the problem with the PBC mentality that they almost feel like they have to fight 2, maybe 3 times a year and take all this time off and then somehow jump into it again. I guess that's how the PBC fighters stay fresh, but I don't see how you would give up an opportunity of a lifetime, especially if it's available for you now, to be great, because beating a Canelo it's a great thing. Not many have done it. Again, Floyd being the only one, Golovkin being close to doing it, but not of course in the judge's eyes. So why not take advantage of an opportunity like that, Caleb Plant? I mean, it doesn't. I don't know, man. I can't comprehend it. I don't understand it. At the end of the day, this is about prize fighting, but it almost seems like with a lot of these PBC guys, it's an ego thing. It's almost like them fearing some sort of repercussion if they do take the monetary fight now, or almost they feel like they're doing a disservice to Al Heyman by saying, okay, they're offering me, these $1 million fights, but I don't want to take it because you've done this, or you could baby me some more, or, by giving me this other type of fight and whatnot. I don't get it. I just hope Caleb Plant doesn't Kid Chocolate himself, And what I mean by Kid Chocolate himself is that he was offered a Kid Chocolate, I would say maybe about, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. No, maybe about 4 years ago. I got offered a substantial amount of money to fight Golovkin. He priced himself out. I think he got paid to sit on the sidelines. Eventually, he came back, and I think his biggest fight was against Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs, of course, got rid of him in the first round, and that was it. All because Al told him to sit down. And now what? Now where are we at with him? Where's Daniel Jacobs? He got the opportunity to do what he does best, which is he's a prize fighter. He earned the right to fight a guy like Golovkin, and he declined that. It's not like he was he wasn't at the top of the food chain. He was higher in that higher food chain than a guy like Daniel Jacobs, but Daniel Jacobs, took completely advantage of it, and he ended up taking the Golovkin fight. And, from that, even with the loss, I mean, a bunch of doors open, for a Canelo fight and whatnot, and, in a DAZN contract and whatnot. So, good for him. That's when you kind of defy being a Heyman fighter. Again, not in their shoes. I don't necessarily understand what goes on over there or what's promised, or they get some sort of per diem. Even I don't get it. But these boys love their Al Heyman. So again, Caleb Plant, don't get chocolate yourself. Other than that, I believe that was it. Let's talk about the fight, the big fight that we have coming up this weekend. And of course, it is the first pay-per-view of the year, and it shows that unlike Caleb Plant, these are the fights that knock down borders. And what I'm saying by that is the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury rematch. Again, this is for Wilder's WBC and Fury's again, quote unquote, lineal champ. That term has been milked so much, and I'm so fucking tired of lineal champ. Of course, the lineal champ is when you beat the man that's the man. The guy that the Ring magazine considers the champion at that division. Of course, to get that's a hell of an accolade, and of course that's something that the Klitschko. Was it Vladimir? No, not Vladimir. Vladimir. I'm sorry, Klitschko had, and at that time Tyson Fury beat him. Of course, Tyson Fury after that lost all his belts because you got popped for cocaine and whatnot. And of course, he took into a hiatus and claiming mental health and whatnot, and never didn't come back for a couple of years and blah blah blah. A few years, 3-4 years later, here we are, and he's still claiming that lineal champion. Ship title, and versus again Deontay Wilder. Like we all know, Deontay Wilder beat Tyson Fury in arguably the most one-sided fight. I could say. I think I gave Tyson Fury about 9, maybe 10. Yeah, I think about 10 rounds actually. And the first fight, the only 2 rounds that I gave Deontay Wilder was those 2 rounds where he dropped Tyson Fury in the first fight. Now, if history repeats itself in this fight, what do I think we're going to see? I think we're going to see a more poised, just a calm Deontay Wilder. We're going to see a Deontay Wilder is just going to try to work everything off his jab and create openings, not brutally make them. I think he's going to create. I think his last, and I don't want to knock Deontay Wilder for being a windmill because that's the popular name. But when you have that type of power that Deontay Wilder has, you can't help it but overuse it and almost forget your fundamentals. Because as far as fundamentals, he has them. Just doesn't want to fucking use them because it's so much easier to just go in there and knock them out. But he needs those basic fundamentals to beat a guy like Tyson Fury, a guy that moves a lot. What do you do versus a guy that moves a lot? You stick that jab in his face, double, triple the jab, and then come back with your big right hand. That's obviously the eraser, and you take care of business. And that's what a guy like Wilder needs to do. Of course, that and try to go for the body. Slow take Deontay. Take Tyson Fury's big flamingo legs out of the equation and kill that body nice and early. We all see that he has a soft body, so why not go for it? Again, it's easier said than done, but I think, like I said, if history repeats itself, he will end up getting Tyson Fury out of there within 8, maybe 9 rounds. If we remember correctly, every time that Deontay Wilder has a rematch, he beats the opponent in a more convincing manner. He did that versus Ortiz. He did that the one time he when he gave the rematch. I can't remember the guy with the long dreads. I remember he looks like Whoopi Goldberg, but whatnot. But he gave a rematch to the guy he took the belt from. And again, he beat him in the first round. Again, the Ortiz fight. He might have lost arguably every round, but that knockout was so beautiful. And I think this was going to happen. I mean, they finally get rid of Tyson Fury. He gets knocked out. I don't think he's going to be able to get up this time. I think the pressure's going to be there, and we get to see a new lineal champion of the world. So that's that. In the undercard, it's a PBC undercard. It's full with a bunch of fighters. I think the co-main event is Charles Martin versus Gerald Washington. Now we've all seen Gerald Washington. We've seen him come up, and he's just Gerald Washington. I mean, it's only so fun this card can be. I think Charles Martin will easily dispose of him. Again, I really like Gerald, but I mean, it's only so much fight he has left. There are a lot of other showcase fighters, not fights, but fighters that they have. Of course, you have the champion Emmanuel Navarrete. We have Rolly, which is more famous for trolling Ryan Rolando Romero. And of course, G Squad, Gabe Flores Jr. is also on that undercard. Overall, seems like a fun fight and fight event to have. It seems like, since it is pay-per-view, it seems like we all have to reach out to Molinar and of course of War Media Center and make sure you get your passwords and for War Media ready to go instead of paying for those hefty pay-per-view prices and whatnot. So let's get to it. Guys, again, it's going to be a nice, short, sweet one this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to leave me your feedback. Remember, like, share, review. You could review this podcast on Apple Podcasts if you guys can. Please make sure you guys follow me at Mr. Boxing Guru on YouTube as well. I don't post much on YouTube, but what I post, I do share the link. So if you don't have, you don't want to go through your Apple Podcasts or your Spotify, just go on YouTube. The podcast is there at Mr. Boxing Guru. Of course, like I said, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker if you guys have Spreaker, and wherever podcasts are listened to. Guys, like every week, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been the Mr. Boxing Guru Podcast. Episode 27. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of your week.
Dicen que lo fusilaron, otros que se fue muy lejos.